Hello, I guess we'll begin. My name is Gabi Novik, and I'm the coordinator for the international program at Machon Lev. Thank you all for joining us. Let me just set this up. Sorry about that. Okay. In general, I'm here to tell you about the program. I also I can see already that we have some students on the line, and other students will be joining us. Also joining us, I hope, is the academic director of the program a little bit later. And so we'll hear a little bit more about the program. I will say in advance that if you have any questions that you would like for me to respond to or to answer, you could definitely ask them later and privately, but also feel free to use the chat specifically for that. Just to type in any questions that you have, and I'll try to get to them throughout this call. I'll also leave at some point on the chat more information, including my contact information, the website. So anything you need will hopefully be there, and definitely feel free to follow up with any more details, any more questions that you have. Okay, in terms of the program, we're the international program at Machon Lev. We offer 2 degrees completely in English. Let me backtrack and speak a little bit about Machon Lev in general. Machon Lev, or the Jerusalem College of Technology in English, we're celebrating our 50th year since we started the Jerusalem College of Technology. There are a number of campuses. Specifically, the main campuses are Machon Tal for women and Machon Lev for men, both located in Jerusalem. Machon Tal is in Givat Shaul, and Machon Lev is in Givat Mordechai, on the border of Givat Mordechai and Beit Vegan. A very nice campus. I'll try to show you a little bit more in terms of the campus a little bit later. We have thousands of students in the program. In Machon Lev in general. In the Hebrew program, I believe there are around six or 7 degree options in the Hebrew program. And in the international program, which I mentioned already, there are 2 degrees available. There's the degree in business administration and computer science, which we'll speak more about in a second. What makes us, I think, specifically unique compared to a lot of the college options out there, whether it's in Israel or abroad, is that we are specifically Jewish religious institution. That means that we have separate campuses for men and women. We have on the male campus, Machon Lev, there are only male faculty. In addition, students have off for all the Chagim, including Hanukkah, Chol HaMoed, all things. They're completely off in general. And it's a time for vacation, to be with family, to have fun. Sometimes there are things happening on campus as well. Social things, student activities. And in addition to that, there's a large central Beit Midrash on campus. The Beit Midrash that we have on campus is headed by Rav Yosef Tzvi Rimon, who's the head of the Beit Midrash there. And he gives regular shiurim on campus. He gives a regular shiur, and then he gives a number of additional shiurim as well, which all students across the campus can benefit from. And this model includes learning in the Beit Midrash in the mornings and doing the academic classes in the afternoon. So it's really a beautiful model for a Jewish religious environment. And that's something that I find is very unique for our institution. I'll just pause for a second before segueing into the international program to introduce some other people on the line. Stuart Hershkowitz is here. He's the vice president of the college and the overseer of the international program. I am going to ask him if you'd like to say some words. Hold on one second. Stuart, you with us?
I am.
There you go.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Gabi, and thank you everybody who's online with us tonight. Just a couple of words about the program. The program's been around for several years now, and we've graduated already quite a few students. It is a unique program, certainly for Jerusalem, where we have, as you've heard already, a full degree given completely in English, in both computer science and business. I think that today in Israel, with such a shortage of good computer people and people with serious business degrees, that getting a job after that, certainly in Israel, but I believe also anywhere, with the good quality degree that we give is something that you can take with you after graduation. We have a very active placement office that today, as I said, with the shortage of people in Israel, has been a major source of placement for many of the big companies in Jerusalem and throughout Israel.
Great. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Stuart, for being here. And just to give some context, as I said, Stuart is the vice president of Machon Lev, and he's also the overseer of this program, which means that there's just such a care for this program. There are a lot of things that we do for these students, for the international students, I would say a little bit above and beyond, more than the Israeli students, in order to make them feel comfortable, in order to tailor the program to what they need. And that's really because of Stuart and all of his efforts, as well as Professor Abba Engelberg, which we'll meet a little bit later. Thank you very much.
I'll just add now that exactly what you said, there are many students who could make it in the Hebrew program, pick the English program for two reasons. One is, Gabi said, because of the personal attention that's given for the smaller classes, number one, and number two, having English and learning the terminologies in English are a huge leg up in Israel in terms of placement. And being able to operate in English in the high-tech world is really a must. Obviously, native English speakers have a leg up, and therefore, as I said, a lot of people who have the opportunity and the possibility of learning in English or in Hebrew invariably pick English.
Yes, we'll speak more about all that, but definitely very true. Before I go on, I know I'm just going to segue to David Samuels. David Samuels, who's on the line right now, is a third-year computer science student in our program. He's also the dorm counselor for the program. He's actually graduating this year, so we're going to have to say goodbye to our dorm counselor, but Emir Hashem we'll look for a new one. We'll find someone, I don't know ever as good as David Samuels, but hopefully someone. And I'm actually turning to him now because I know he's in a rush to go have an interview with the Navy, I believe. So maybe he could speak more about that and his connection through Machon Lev and doing the Army, and what brought him to Machon Lev in general.
Sure. So I made Aliyah in 2017, and there was a lot that went into that. But one of the things that made making Aliyah comfortable and feel like the right decision at the time was that I could get a degree in computer science, which I know that I wanted to do, in English, which is huge. That's not like something to be taken for granted. And the fact that I could do that on a religious campus, in an environment that I liked in Yerushalayim, in a place I wanted to be, was one of the big factors in my decision to make Aliyah when I did, and not get a degree in America and then come later. Yeah, so now I'm almost done with the computer science degree, and I'm drafting in October, and still don't know where yet. That's hence the interviews. Actually,
can I interrupt you in terms of doing college and then drafting? Can you explain a little bit that program?
Yeah, so there's a program called okay, there's a few different programs. One's called Atuda, which is where Israelis will get sent to get a degree by the Army, and they'll pay for the degree, and then they sign on for extra time in the Army afterwards using their profession. And then there's something called Atudat Olim, which is for new Olim like myself, where it's a similar idea, except that since the government's already paying for my first degree, they just defer my service, and you're not required to do as much as the regular Atudaim would, but I basically get to use my degree in my position in the Army. So I'll be doing some sort of programming, software position in the Army, which will only help my career further. So that was all part of the cheshbon. And actually, just today, I'm having a few different interviews. I just got out of an interview today, a technical interview with the Navy for their computer science and intelligence divisions. And it was just question after question of technical knowledge of algorithmic problems and programming experience. And it kind of just made me reflect a bit on the fact that, coming to Machon Lev, I'd loved computer science. I love programming, and I done some experimenting on my own. But 99% of what I was asked in that interview, I had an answer for. And it came up in some of my classes and some of the things that I've been researching through my classes. So, you know, it's definitely not the degree isn't just paper. I really did learn a lot. And they're not paying me to say this, but honestly, like that interview just kind of showed me that there's a real practical side and to, you know, I'm much more likely to get that position now, and hopefully will, thanks to my experience here in Machon Lev.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I see Professor Engelberg is on. We'll just speak a little bit more about the program, and then we'll go to him as well. Just to give you an overview, the program it offers 2 degrees completely in English, a BA in Business Administration and a BS, Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. Both degrees are 3 years long. The computers degree has class 4 days a week on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the business administration degree has classes 2 to 3 days a week, depending on the semester, on Tuesdays and Fridays, sometimes Wednesdays, again, depending on the semester. Those are the 2 degrees that we offer. Just to answer some questions that I know are going to come up. In terms of, and Professor Engelberg, maybe I'll throw this to him because I know that he can answer better than I can. Our college is accredited by the Council for Higher Education in Israel, which means that we are a national accredited institution, meaning that the degrees that we award and the credits that we award should be able to be transferred worldwide. Professor Engelberg, do you want to speak a little bit more? I know you have experience with some of our students who've transferred to other colleges, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows that our degrees and our credits are transferable.
Well, we are actually accredited by the council.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second. I don't know if I actually introduced Professor Engelberg. Professor Engelberg is the academic director of the program and deals with everything A to Z in terms of the academics, the scheduling, the courses, the professors, and again, really committed to our students in the international program and making sure that every student has the right schedule, has the right place, knows what he's doing and where to be. So with that, I'll let Professor Engelberg continue.
Okay, I'm going to go back to answering that question. In Israel, there is an organization called the Council for Higher Education. And that is the council that approves the programs in every college. So we are recognized, and our degree is recognized by the Council for Higher Education. And that is the same council that approves of Bar Ilan or Hebrew University or the Technion. So our degree is acceptable to other universities, both in Israel and out of the country, to the same extent that degrees from any of the other universities in Israel are acceptable.
Thank you. If anyone has any questions, again, feel free to post in the chat. All academic questions, Professor Engelberg is the expert in. Again, but feel free to post in the chat or to follow up, with an email later. I'm happy to put you in touch. Just going back to the program. As we said before, it's a relatively small program. Our program has about 100 students in total, which means class sizes are around 20 to 30 students per class, sometimes a bit less, sometimes around 20 per class, which really creates an environment where the professors know the students, the administration knows the students. We work with the students all the time to find out what they need, what they want, and try to tailor the program, as I said, as much as we can to what they need, specifically for the international students as opposed to the Israeli students. Like I said, our program is in Givat Mordechai. We're the only undergraduate program in English in Jerusalem, which makes it really unique, really, not many other options if Yerushalayim is where you want to be. And I definitely could say why Yerushalayim might be where you want to be. It's a beautiful and amazing place. I live in Yerushalayim. And if that's something that you want, then this degree is quite possibly the most convenient and easiest option for you. I'll just go into costs for the program, and then transfer also to the registration process. And I know we do have a couple of other people joining the call as well, so maybe we'll speak with them as well. In terms of costs for the program costs, tuition for the program is around 13,000 shekel per year. It comes out to around $3,800 per year, around, based on the exchange rate, as well as other factors. And that's tuition. For Olim Chadashim, for people who are new Olim to Israel, new immigrants to Israel, if they qualify for the benefit, for the higher education benefit from the government, then that tuition is completely covered, fully covered by the government. That's the tuition cost. Additional costs for the program include room and board. If students would like to dorm, David Samuels, are you still in the dorm room, or I know you're moving out soon? You're still in the dorm room, so you could see in his background our dorm rooms. We actually are building a new dorm building, which it was actually supposed to be done earlier. Now, unfortunately, things are taking a little bit longer, but I believe it's supposed to be done in November. So it is possible that you'll be able to move into the new dorms if you're planning on coming next year. And dorms, for those that are interested, it's definitely not a requirement, but for those that are interested in dorming on campus, there is that option. And the cost is about 9,000 shekel per year for the dorms. In addition to that, there's Beit Midrash for students that are learning in our Beit Midrash. It's 5,000 shekel for non-Israeli students and non-Israeli citizens. If you're an Israeli citizen, if you made Aliyah, then it goes down to 2,500 shekel per year. In terms of food, it's a pay-as-you-go system. So depending on how much you'd like to eat in the cafeteria, that's how much you'll pay every month. Totally up to you. There's a meat cafeteria that's open for lunch and dinner. There's also a dairy cafe, a smaller dairy cafe. And the meals, I would say in general, are around 20 to 30 shekel for lunch or dinner. But again, you can decide to eat there or not eat there, whatever you choose, or eat there however often you choose. And then at the end of the month, they'll bill you based on how much you've eaten in the cafeteria. Those are all the costs. I see that Yitzi Fuchs is joining us on the call. Yitzi is a business student. I want to say second year. Am I correct on that? Second year. I'm going to unmute you. Second year business student. And I'm curious, Yitzi, what brought you to Machon Lev? How did you find the program, and what do you like about the program?
Okay, so first of all, hi everyone. For starters, I was in a Hesder yeshiva here in Israel.
That was good. Exactly. Okay, I was gonna say, Yitzi, I don't know exactly when you came to Israel, but Yitzi could easily is a student that I would say could probably easily do the Hebrew program. So maybe elaborate more on exactly what brought you specifically to the international program.
Okay. So first off, then, as Gabi just said, I made Aliyah about 19 years ago at this point. So I made Aliyah when I was 6 years old. And as Gabi just said, I could definitely have gone to the Hebrew programs. It would not have been a problem for me. I speak both fluent English and Hebrew. But as I had started saying before, I was in a Hesder yeshiva up north by the name of Mahalot. And as I was trying to decide what I was going to do the day after I finished Hesder, I started looking into the different options, the different universities. I had an interest in studying business. That was like my direction. And I went to check out a couple of the other universities, some of the bigger names. And what really brought me to Machon Lev was, first of all, I liked the idea of learning in English. As I said, I speak both English and Hebrew fluently, but I assume, and I'm actually working at a company right now, which I'll touch on in a second, but I assume that most of my business experience in Israel will most likely be in English. And I thought learning in the language that I will be, speaking and working in would be a big part of it. And therefore I was interested in learning in English. And then specifically Machon Lev, first of all, I really liked the idea of the program of the 2 days a week. We have school on Tuesdays and Fridays. And this way I was able to, first of all, continue to learn both in the Beit Midrash at Machon Lev. I could come. First of all, we have there are some mandatory things that we have to be a part of, and shiurim and different things. But also, I was able to combine this while working. I got married in the midst of my first year, as like my first year, and to me that was a big plus, that I'd be able to also be studying and also get to support the family, so to speak. So yeah, so that's a little bit about it. Obviously, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure. Well, if anyone has any questions, again, please feel free to put it in the chat. I'm happy to share with Yitzi as well. In terms, I'm just going to continue on, but again, thank you, Yitzi, for joining us. And if you have to go, people, I just want to point out the students that are on the line. Students are in the middle of finals right now, so the fact that they took some time to be with us is really we're very thankful about that. And they really are, you know, again, we're not paying them, we're not we're not really doing much for them, and they took their time to just say nice things about the program. I think that means the most, hearing the students and their perspective. So thank you for that. Again, if anyone has any questions now, or if anyone wants to follow up, I'm sure I could put you in touch, either with David Samuels or with Yitzi Fuchs. Yeah. I'll just continue on with the registration process. I saw that people are asking some questions in the chat, and I'll try to cover that as well. In terms of registration, I'm just going to share my screen, so we can walk through it together. Not that it's complicated, but now that you're hold on. Oh, where am I going? There we go. Sorry. Okay, so this is our English website. Just moving things around so I can see everyone. If you open up to our English website, it's jct.ac.il/en. On the right-hand side is online registration. Before I go there, I'm just going to show you some other things. So first, if you were to click special programs in English, you would get to our page. These are the programs in English we offer for men and women. So if you click on the program for men, you could find a lot of the information that we're covering tonight, as well as other things like some of the courses that you would be taking either in the business program or the computer science program. The schedule, general information here as well, and my contact information. So please feel free to reach out. Again, I hope to post this in the chat as well if people are not seeing this right now. Okay, again, on the right-hand side is online registration. If we were to click that, it would take you to the online registration website. Very simple. You would start with the registration for new candidates, assuming you're a new candidate. I know I've spoken to a number of people who are actually in the Mechina program at Machon Lev. I see some of them are on this call as well. If you're in the Mechina program, that means you already have a login to the Machon Lev registration website, so you should use the existing candidate login for that. If you're a new candidate, you've never been considered for Machon Lev before, enter in for new candidates. Through this website, you'll have a form to fill out, basically. Basic information about yourself, background information, no difficult questions, really just simple background information and contact information for yourself. At the end of the registration form will be a 300 shekel non-refundable registration payment in order for them to process your file. And then I'll be in touch with you. I'll be in touch really throughout in terms of the documents that you're going to need. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen for a second, just to explain further. The documents you will need are, first of all, a picture of yourself, a copy of your, and again, you don't have to memorize this, you don't have to, I'm happy to be in touch. It's also on our website, but a picture of yourself, a copy of your ID of either Teudat Zehut or passport, and your full high school transcript, along with your diploma from high school, and finally a standardized test score. If you're coming from the US or Canada, usually that's considered the SAT or the ACT exam. If you're coming from Europe, some places take the A levels, that would also qualify. I know there are another number of other exams from Australia. There's the ATAR. South Africa has other matriculation exams. So I'm not sure exactly how they qualify, but you could send in any of those exams and the registration department would review it. So again, depending on those scores and depending on those exams, that's how acceptance is determined. If you haven't taken those exams, if you've, for example, you went to college, went to high school in the US and you've done your high school, but you've completed high school, but you've never taken any additional exams like an SAT or an ACT, there is still time to take additional testing. We would actually recommend not the SAT or ACT just because they're not offered very often, but there's something called the TEAL exam, which is, it's an international exam based in Israel, but it's given in, I think, 7 different languages. So you can take it in whatever language you feel comfortable in, whether that's English or another language, that's fine. And currently, because of coronavirus, it's being offered virtually, which means you can take it from your own home, wherever you're located in the world. So it is very convenient and very helpful, and definitely you do still have the ability to do that if you need it, based on your scores and where you're coming from. And that's basically it. Once you send in all those things, we'll review it. Sorry, just one thing. I know people are asking questions, so I'm going to try to get to everything. Additionally, in the registration process is an interview with the Beit Midrash. You'll meet with one of the Rebbeim in the Beit Midrash. In terms of the Beit Midrash, as I said, we offer a really amazing Beit Midrash on campus. There is one of the Rebbeim gives a shir in English specifically for the international students, and there also obviously are many Israeli shirim. Students can choose if they would feel more comfortable in the English shir, they're welcome to be there. If they would like to do a shir in Hebrew, they're also welcome to do that instead of. In addition, if students would like to learn elsewhere, they do have the option of learning in any other yeshiva, not on campus, in a different yeshiva program. They just have to provide us with a letter stating that they're learning in another yeshiva in order to qualify for their Beit Midrash requirement. But either way, all students have an interview as part of the application process. All students have an interview with one of the Rebbeim in the Beit Midrash, and they're there to help you and to talk to you and to figure out what your learning schedule is like, and to present to you the options at Machon Lev if that's of interest to you. So that's part of the registration process. In terms of dorms, dorms are available. You would apply for the dorms only after you're accepted to the program. There is limited space in the dorms. Not everyone can be in the dorms, but at the same time, right now there are open positions in the dorms, and usually we do find space for all of our applicants who want to be in the dorms. And like I said, they're building a new dorm building, so we're hoping that we'll have much more capacity soon. Also, in terms of the dorms and the layout, I can answer you. David Samuels also can easily answer you what the current situation is, but hopefully in a couple months it won't even be relevant because we'll be moving into new dorm building. So currently it's two students to each room. Each room has their own bathroom. There's like a small kitchen area, a countertop. A lot of students bring in their own appliances, a toaster oven or a hot water maker, something along those lines. But that's basically the breakdown in terms of the rooms. But again, it sounds like hopefully they'll be moving into new dorms, so it could be that I can only imagine things will be better. Put it that way. I don't know all the entire layout, but I can only imagine that things will be a little bit better. I'm just going to run through the chat in terms of CLEPs. Yes, we accept CLEPs. Federation of Machon Lev haven't done Aliyah. Yes. Sorry, that's a very good question. Can you register for Machon Lev if you haven't done Aliyah? Yes, absolutely. Aliyah is not a requirement. We have a number of students that have made Aliyah. I think I would say probably majority of our students have made Aliyah, but definitely there's a large amount that have not made Aliyah. Some are planning on going back to their countries of origin after the degree, and that's completely fine. Just 2 things to think about. Number 1 is if you're not here as a Israeli citizen, you have to have a student visa. Currently, usually there are no problems getting a student visa. Currently, it is a little bit complicated because of coronavirus. I believe that at the moment they are allowing our students to get student visas. If you need more information, I would definitely put you in touch with someone in our office that can help you with student visa information. In terms and the other thing to consider in terms of aliyah or not aliyah is if you make aliyah, again, presumably, depending on your exact scenario, but presumably the degree would be completely covered by the government. Whereas if you do not make aliyah, the tuition for the degree would be completely covered. If you do not make aliyah, you would be paying out of pocket for the program. So keep that in mind. You can also change that at any point in time. So if, for example, if you make aliyah in your second year of the program, then the government would start paying from your second year on. They won't refund you the money from the first year. In general, that's how it works. But keep that in mind. You can consider that on, based on your own circumstances. In terms of, I'll just mention, because I mentioned student visas before and possibly having difficulties getting into Israel. So again, currently it sounds like people can get here with student visas, but I just want to, I want to clarify that we are committed to opening our program next year. If we cannot offer an in-person model, we will have classes available online, recordings and materials online. That means for any students that cannot make it to campus, again, because they can't come into the country or because for medical health circumstances, they can't come to campus physically, we will be able to offer them a virtual model, online classes, something of that sort. At the same time, our program is considered an in-person program, and we are hoping that at some point, whether it's in October when we start the program, or not till January or February, or not till next year, we are hoping that at some point we will be able to resume an in-person model. That's our general, the general model that we run on, that our program runs with. COVID restrictions regarding COVID-19, someone asked. So again, in terms of, we generally follow the governmental restrictions. That means that currently the government is not allowing us to have classes in person, which is why we are not having classes in person. As soon as they do allow for that, that's what we will allow. That's what we will be doing. But again, that will be with consideration specifically for the international students, those that cannot make it physically within the borders of Israel, and for students with health considerations that can't make it to campus, they will have online options. Anything else on the program include internships? The business administration program does include an internship program as part of the last year, the third year of the program. And it works specifically because the business program is more part-time. The computer science program does not have an internship model. It's relatively intensive for 3 years of study. And then after that, students apply for jobs. Again, there's a great job placement department. They run a job fair, at least one job fair, maybe 2 every year, where there are a number of jobs available, not just for computer science, but really for all fields within Machon Lab. I'll just take a break for a second to introduce Yehuda Arbak, who is 3rd year business student, correct? Right? Is this, you're starting your 3rd year? Hold on, let me find you. You're starting your 3rd year?
We are starting our 3rd year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to mention what do you like about the program? What's exciting? What's 3rd year of the program? You're already basically done. What was good about it?
Yeah.
Or bad?
I mean,
you can mention the bad.
one of the first things that sticks out to me is even, when I started at the Machon, so I was speaking to some of the administration and I was like, it's a very convenient schedule. It's not more than the regular college. It's in English. What's the catch? And, they would always tell me, there is no catch. I was like, okay, there's no catch, but there is a catch. And really what I discovered over the first couple of years is really, I haven't experienced any catch. A super convenient schedule. I'm working in a yeshiva full time, and it's a schedule that really allows me to focus both on work and on study. It's certainly the English is extremely helpful. And I find that even since we started, Yitzi and I started, the Machon has really been improving year by year. They're very open to our feedback and really responsive. And it feels like not only we're receiving a great education, but we even have a part of how we want our program to look. And I feel like that's very important, and it doesn't really happen in a lot of other places. So I think that's what's unique about the Machon.
Thank you. Again, I'll reiterate that the students that are on this call are happy to answer any of the questions. I know that some have been answering in the chat, but feel free if anyone has any questions about the program. Again, we have Yitzi Fuchs and Yehuda Auerbach from our business program and David Samuels from our computer science program. If anyone has any questions specifically about the programs, feel free. Again, feel free whether it's in the chat, and I'm happy to mention it. And feel free to answer as well in the chat. I'll just, is there anything else? I'm not sure. I'm trying to scroll through the chat to see if there's anything I haven't covered. I actually, is something that I didn't do on the last virtual open house, but I thought it's a great thing to do. Normally, you know, I would show everyone, I would show you around campus. I love our campus. Our campus is beautiful. Anyone that's been there, it's just really nice campus in Yerushalayim. And now it's late and dark, and we're not, most of us other than David are not on campus. But we do actually have a virtual tour available on our website. So I can show you a little bit in terms of our campus just to get a feel for it. And I'll take you there right now. Again, this is our website. This is the International Program for English. Right here, again, you could do this on your own, but I'll just I'll explain a little bit what you're seeing as you see it. If you click on Virtual Tour, you'll get a little bit of a taste of what campus is like. And again, living on campus is definitely a personal decision. It's up to you whether you'd like to live on campus. But there's so many amenities. They're really nice factors of living on campus. You definitely, again, you don't have to, but it is really nice. And even for students that are not living on campus, you have access to this. All students have access to this. So I'll just take you around a little bit. This is right in front of the Beit Midrash building. I'll show you. This is our central Beit Midrash building. Again, we have one central Beit Midrash, not that's the Beit Midrash on campus. All students learn in that Beit Midrash. We'll actually see inside the Beit Midrash in a second. And this is the entrance to the library. Again, we'll see inside there in a second. So let me just maneuver. I'll just show you a little bit in terms of the dorms. This is just the outside dorm complex. You can see there are a number of buildings. Straight ahead of you is the dorms actually for high school students. There's a high school program on the campus of Machon Lev, straight ahead. These high school students actually learn the computer science degree. They learn that degree while they're in high school. And then they graduate. They spend, I think, one extra year after high school, and they graduate with that same computer science degree from, sorry, I just changed there, from Machon Lev, the same computer science degree that David Samuels will get, and that's part of our program. Next to that is the married dorm building. There actually is a dorm for married students on campus. It's basically an apartment building. It's very nice. As you can see, it's relatively new, but there aren't that many spots. It's very hard to get a spot in the married dorm building, but if you are interested, feel free to speak to me more about it. If you look straight ahead, there's a blue wall. That is construction. Right beyond there is where they're building the new dorm building. So I'm not sure exactly when these pictures were taken, but it actually looks a little bit different now because there's a huge structure there. And coming up right now on the left is sorry, I don't know why it changes automatically there. Coming out, I'll go this way. Here is the main dorm building. Again, these are the dorms we spoke about. Something just to add in is that there's a men's mikvah on the bottom floor of the dorm building. Again, not just for students in the dorms, anyone that would like can use that. This is our Beit Midrash from the inside. As you can see, it's it's very large, and there are students in general in the morning, not during coronavirus. It's very large and very just expansive. You have students learning from all over. There's a French program. There are Ethiopians on campus as well. We have 2 Ethiopians in our program. So you really have just a really diverse mix in the Beit Midrash. It's just really, really exciting. This is all one space. This is all one room. And it's really exciting to see all that take place in one room. I'll fast forward to our workout room, which is also beautiful. Very, very exciting and beautiful. Completely new equipment, recently renovated. There are certain specific hours that it's open. Each day there are a couple of hours that it's open. Sorry, again, it changes automatically. There are showers and lockers there also. So even if you're not living on campus, you could come and use our workout room and shower there as well. Okay, and I think the library here. And just lastly, I believe for now, is the library. This is the entrance to the library. A lot of stations to study. Let's see over here. Yeah, over here there are computer stations. There are a number of computers on campus that any student can log into with their username and password. So we definitely recommend that all our students have their own laptops, but it's not required. If they wanted to, in theory, you can just use the computers that we have on campus. This is the downstairs floor of the library, which is a more collaborative floor. The upstairs is a quiet floor. Here there's a lot of space to work together on projects, to do tutoring. There's a lot of tutoring that happens throughout Machon Lev and definitely within our program. There's a lot of catching up to do. We definitely recommend, we have tutors that are recommended through Machon Lev, and we definitely would recommend for students that need to get the tutoring that they need. You can't see it right now, sorry, I'm going back and forth, but you can try to get a view, but you can't. If you can see in the back, there are these glass doors. Those lead to small rooms where you can work together on a project with another student, with a classmate. You could do tutoring in there as well. And I think that's it for now. There are a number of other, there are a lot of the virtual tour is labs. This is Machon Tal, so we can close that out, that's separate. But there are a number of labs on campus as well. So you can look through some of the labs. A lot of them are more for the engineering program, optical and electronic engineering and things along those lines. But if that's of interest to you, you could definitely log onto the website and look at that as well. I'm just gonna scan if there's anything here that I'm missing. Health, we definitely, yeah. So I'll try to put in Samuel's. I'll put in everyone's contact info. If anyone has any questions, they want to reach out to anyone. Again, thank you to David and to Yehuda and Yitzi for joining. In terms of someone asked about offering a health science degree, we don't yet have plans for that. Definitely people have asked, so it is possible maybe in the future, but it's not something that we're looking for next year. But we do offer health degrees in Hebrew. So if your Hebrew is good enough, then definitely that's something that you can look into. Let me just see if there's any other questions on the chat. In terms of the interview, someone asked about the interview. You don't need an interview with me. I'm happy to speak with you. That's my job. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. But the interview is through the rabbi in the Beit Midrash. Again, just to help you guide you in terms of your learning, whether you're learning on campus or whether you're learning elsewhere, and your structure in terms of your learning. That's what that's for. It's not. Let me just clarify. It's not a test. It's not. If you don't do well in the interview, you won't be accepted. It's really just a question of where's the best place for you in terms of your Beit Midrash learning. I think that's basically it. Again, if anyone has any more questions, I'm right now going to post in the chat my contact information, which is gnovic@jct.ac.il. That's my email. Feel free to email me with any questions you have. I'm also going to post our website, which is jct.ac.il/en for English. Feel free to go to that website. And lastly, I'll just post directly the link to registration, which is English Rishum. I'll post that as well. Again, really feel free to be in touch with anything. In terms of registration, I'll just mention the program starts, sorry, I didn't go through this specifically. I don't know if anyone asked. The program starts in October after Sukkot. And so there definitely is still time to apply. At the same time, there's not much time. So I would recommend, if you're thinking about it, I see a bunch of people on this line that are not yet registered for the program for next year, that have not begun the application process. I would definitely recommend, if you're interested, if you're thinking about it for next year, to begin the application process as soon as possible. That means starting at that link that I sent, starting that form. Once you start that form, we could be in touch. And once you get in all your documents, the registration department can review it. And that's really what takes time. So please, I would recommend doing that as soon as you can. Program offers exchange semesters. No, we don't offer any exchange semesters. Nothing that's arranged through the program, but there are students that will take classes in different programs. There are students that transfer in, that transfer out. That happens all the time. So if you are interested in doing, for example, a semester by us and then transferring and doing a semester elsewhere, that is possible. But in general, most of our students do not, they stay for the full 3 years of the program and graduate from the program with their degree. Again, I think, I'm not sure if there's anything I missed in terms of the chat. Please feel free to reach out. But again, you have my email address. Please feel free to be in touch. Let me know if there's anything you need. That I'm here to help. That's really what I'm here for. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you to the students that are here. Thank you to Professor Engelberg and to Stuart that was here earlier. And thank you all for joining us. This really is just to open the door to this opportunity and to this option. And I'd be happy to speak with you more in terms of how this option can be relevant more for you. I just see, what if you're entering 12th grade? In general, you're welcome to send us your transcript. The registration department would need to review it based on the classes that you've already taken. But in general, they require a full high school diploma, full high school transcript. So it will depend on the exact courses that you've taken and your grades. But that's how it works. Feel free to be in touch with me privately to send in your scores, and we'll see what we can do. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and have a great night.